Hello guys, welcome back. This is the fifth video in the Python series, and in the previous video we discussed how to define our own functions. We visualized them in the Python visualizer, and in this video we'll be discussing something new. So what are we going to discuss about? We will be discussing about something called strings. What are strings? Strings are nothing but data type in Python which contain a sequence of characters. They can be any characters. Then how does Python know that a given thing is a string? It knows that a given input is a string by identifying few characters, by identifying where the given character with what the given characters are enclosed with. So we need to enclose them using single quote content close the quote, or you can use a double quote content and close the double quote. So any of the ways can be used to represent a string in Python and to make let Python know that given input is a string. So next what I want to tell you is representation, practical representation. So I'll just start it. Now what all a string can contain, I'm going to show you now. I'm going to tell you. It can contain a capital letter, a small letter, numbers, it can contain all the special characters, it can contain spaces and anything. Now if by mistake there's a typo error, I start with a single quote and end with a double quote, and I'll run it, click enter. So it is showing that an error while scanning literal syntax error. The syntax error is it is not able to identify where the end quote is. It can identify the single quote as the start quote, but it is not able to find the end quote. So you must be careful that the start and the end quote must be same. That is either both are single quotes or both are double quotes. Okay, great. Next, I'll be wanting to type a sentence in Python. This is John, and I live in Britain. So this is going to be the sentence actually. So I'm going to actually divide this into variables for simplicity purposes. So this is going to be the start variable, name variable, this is going to be the join variable, and this is going to be the place variable. Okay, now I'll be ready with the variables, and so I'm ready with the variables, and now let me join these things. So joining strings is called as concatenation of strings. So concatenation is combining two or more strings. So how to do that is just as we add numbers, just as we add ints, by the same way you can add these, these so-called strings or strings. So let me start. Start plus name plus what, join plus place. Enter. Oh, what is this? So you can see this is John and I live in Britain. So you can see there are no spaces in between is and John and in and Britain. The reason is Python does not know to add places. So we need to give it we need to give it what to say, the information that it needs to add. So the best practice while doing these things is you can give spaces before and after the string. So in this place, in the first one, I'll just give a space here, updated. The second one, I'll give a space at the end. So as I already gave it for this is, and for live in, I'll give a space here, and for Britain I don't need any spaces, and I'll repeat this function or the code, and you can see a clean sentence, a proper sentence. Great. Now so this is John is a bit big. Let me update this to, let's say, start is equal to no I'm, so I want to update this is John to I want to update this to I am John. So it would be easy for us to read and also a bit friendly. I am John and I live in Britain. Great. So I'll update the start is equal to I am. But you can see M is not highlighted in green. M isn't highlighted in green. The reason is here you can see the start string and Python is considering this to be the end string, and this came from nowhere. Python doesn't know what does this mean. It means like we didn't even define it, so it considers this is an undefined character. So let us run and execute it. It is telling invalid syntax. So the reason is there is no proper defining string from us. So there's a mistake from our side. The solution for this is, as we need a single quote in between the string, we'll just replace the end quotes and single quotes with double quotes. Simple method, and you can see there's no problem. And I will repeat this same thing, and you can see I am John, so I should give a space here, and I'll repeat this. A clean sentence and a short sentence. I am John and I live in Britain. Easy, right? So there's another way. Instead of giving dual quotes or double quotes, you can use the single quotes itself. But here, in front of the single quote, before the single quote, you enter backslash, which is located below the backspace symbol, or sorry, the backspace and above the enter, and enter. And now you'll be getting space, the same output as you got here. So instead of using a double quote, you can just give an escape character. This backslash is called an escape character. Python is going to ignore this character, and if I ask to return start also, it just gives I am. Okay, easy. So next, until now we just saw an introduction sentence. Now if someone wants to tell him about him in a brief, then he needs to give it in a paragraph. So for a paragraph, it need to contain multiple sentences in different lines, right? So for different lines, let me try doing that. The same thing. I am John. I live in Britain is going to be the first sentence. Okay, I need to give a backslash over here and an end string. And yeah, you can see it turned green. And now I need to go to another sentence, so I'll hit enter. But I didn't get a chance to go for another sentence. Just returned it. So how to do that? So for that, we need to bring out a new type of string. Okay, so that is going to be a triple quoted string, and you enter the same thing, and if you hit enter also, that doesn't get executed. You will be redirected. You will be redirected to the next round or next line. Sorry, and now you can happily go on with the next few sentences. So I'll be just for the sake of time. Great. Now I'll close it with the same three quotes, and hit enter. So here in the output you can see I am John and I live in Britain. You can see a slash n, a backslash n, and even here you can see a backslash n. Here you can see a backslash n, and you can see it in 1 to 3 places. The reason is Python cannot store it in this form. So this backslash n is an escape character. So what actually it does is, this helps Python to know that this is an enter or it's a new line character. So this is basically called a new line character. So it reminds Python that this is going to be in a new line. Okay, great. And so actually there are some more escape sequences or escape characters that I will be discussing in the next video. And before leaving, we'll go through our notes. So in the notes, string, we talked about what a string is. Okay, string is done. What a definition of string. And here you can see I gave a few examples. And next, how to represent a string also is given. And one more thing I forgot to tell you is um, that is, you can also multiply. You can also multiply strings. Okay, let me show you. Say I have laugh is equal to some haha, and if I give laugh times 7 is equal to ha 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 7 times. Okay, great. Now if I have another variable called symbol is equal to a kind of smile representation, and if I try laugh times smile or symbol is equal to can't multiply sequence. This is a sequence by non-integer type. So it means you can only multiply a string with an int. You cannot do with any other data types. So let us check other operations as well, but actually they end up in an error. You cannot actually do those things, and laugh times is not supported, and division is not supported, and the remainder modulo that we saw in our first one also is not supported. So these are all the things that are not supported by Python string types. In string types, these operations are not supported. And in the next video, we'll talk about more. But before that, yeah, escape sequences are, if we use, I told you the backslash character about if we use another apostrophe or a single quote in our sentence, in our string, we can use the backslash character to cover that, or to make Python reject it or ignore it. So we discussed about this. Done. And yeah, triple quoted strings, yes, we did discuss about them. If you want to give it in multiple lines, we discussed. And coming down, you just ignore about this right now, but in our next video you'll be getting to know what are those. Okay, here we talked about backslash n, and one more thing I wanted to show you, actually some different kinds of crazy combinations. Now if I give a backslash, another backslash, you'll be ending up with two backslashes. It means that this is considered only when something is, this is ignored only when something is in front of it. Now let me try um, backslash apostrophe. Now you can see it's like, god, apostrophe, double quote, single quote, and double quote. So this is the string literal actually, and these are the ending and starting quotes. Next, what another kind of crazy combination? A backslash and a double quote. You can see only a double quote. So Python ignores this backslash character when something is in front of it. Okay. And now if I yeah, that's it in the combinations, crazy combinations. And yeah, we are back here. Single quotes, double quotes, and we saw the string operations. We did all these things. and we know what about concatenation, and all other mathematical operators give an error. So that's it in this video, guys. Next video I'll introduce you to print function and input function.